All right, we got a Zendikar quick draft. I missed this set, even though it overstayed its welcome here. Of course, I fucked up the audio once again, but we do start with a sweet one. In quick draft, you draft bots with bots, so we don't have to worry about someone super slow at the table. And we get to just take our Phylath here. Phylath is one of the only reasons, I think, to draft red-green in this format. And if you're going landfall, synergy is king in this format. And if you're going landfall, you go all in. If you're going with a party-based deck or a tribal deck, you really want to go all in on those as well. So the debate here, Thundering Spark Mage, one of the strongest uncommons in the set. I mean, Roost of Drakes is for sure just a broken, busted card in this format. But Thundering Spark Mage is quite good if you're doing the party thing. It's a 2/2 for 4 that also kills a creature when it comes into play. But since we have Phylath, I think we're incentivized to go Roiling Regrowth, which is fixing its instant speed landfall triggers. So it's pretty good. Pretty good. Here we get a much weaker pack. So we have Ardent Electromancer, which is a very solid 3-drop in red. Red, I think, is the best color in this format. There's Vastwood Fortification, which is one of the worst MDFCs in the format. But it's still playable. It's, technically a combat trick. It's instant speed, 1 mana, put a counter on a creature. Usually you don't need that ability. So oftentimes you just play it as a land, but sometimes it's helpful. But again, we're going all in here. It's a bot draft, so I don't know how signals and stuff work with the bots. I think they just draft based on color pairings, not so much like deck archetypes, maybe. Anyways, we're gonna pick up Canopy Baloth here. Now you have another decision to make. So there's Sajiri's Shelter, which I like quite a bit. We would have to splash for it, which isn't ideal. Although your MDFCs do help you splash in this format, so something to think about there. And it protects our Phylath, which is really good. But we're going to take a Pyroclastic Helion. Again, we're just going all in on this landfall theme. And I do like a copy of Pyroclastic Helion in any red deck. Picks up an MDFC. It deals 2 damage to the opponent when it comes into play. And then it also has decent stats. Here, really nothing. Take a Molten Blast, fine. Well, a mediocre removal spell, but it's still removal. And a lot of the creatures in this format are small. And some of the really good signpost uncommons have 2 toughness, right? Like, mainly Cleric of the Dark Moon, which is one of the stronger cards in the set. So, anyway, we're going to take it there, and then we'll pick up a Territorial Scythecat, another landfall creature. Broken Wings in this format is, I think, playable as a one-off just because of how dangerous Roost of Drakes is, and there's a lot of relics. So a signpost uncommon for each of the tribal decks. Relic Vial, Relic Amulet are incredibly powerful. There's Relic Axe, which isn't as good, and then Relic Golem, which isn't very good, but those are all artifacts, and Relic Vial and Relic Amulet will win a game. So it's good to have a copy of that. I think it's playable. It's not great, but it's definitely playable. We also have Molten Blast to help deal with artifacts, so that makes it less playable, but here we are. We did wheel Vastwood Surge, which is huge. That card is bananas in a landfall deck. Ramps you, gets double landfall triggers, fixes you. So now we have Vastwood Surge and Roiling Regrowth for our landfall deck. And we open a very good MDFC. Glasspool Mimic, one of the stronger MDFCs. It's a rare. I only have Molten Blast as removal. I usually don't like splashing for MDFCs. So I think I'm going to skip the Glasspool Mimic, pick up a much needed removal spell. Blue is not a landfall color. So if we are splashing blue, I don't know what would be splashing blue for, right? And then we get past a Total Bomb. Thank you, bots. Inscription of Abundance, along with Phylath, are 2 of the best green bombs in the set. Phylath multicolor, but has green in it. Inscription of Abundance is totally busted in this format. This isn't a very bomby format. And then we get a Brushfire Elemental, which is our Signpost Uncommon that we were looking for. So that's super exciting in a landfall deck. And with Roiling Regrowth and Vastwood Surge, you can make that thing a legit threat. 2 mana haster that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, and then it gets pumped +2/+2 every time a land comes into play. So super good for us. And here we just get nothing. There's that aforementioned Relic Amulet, which is a bomb in a wizard deck. Yeah, nothing there. We do get a Tangled Florahedron. Again, one of the weaker MDFCs, but happy to pick that up here. We don't have any MDFCs yet, and I usually like to end any Zendikar draft with 3 MDFCs in my pile. We also have Sneaking Guide, kind of as a cute synergy, I guess, with Brushfire Elemental. If your opponent does have, creatures with power 3 or greater, it can make it unblockable. Then play your land, Brushfire goes to a 3/3, and then you can get in for 3 unblockable. I like a one-off Territorial Scythecat gift there. And then we're just really not seeing much. We have a Xandu Nectar Pot and a Spitfire Lagak. I do like having a Lagak in a landfall deck, but Xandu Nectar Pot, we really need 2 drops, so we want to pick that up. Fisher Wizard, another super solid 2-drop in red, so we'll pick a couple of those up. And then we get another Molten Blast, which, this means we don't really need to play the Broken Wings, because we have 2 ways to deal with those pesky relics. And then we open a really terrible pack. Skyclave Pickaxe, I don't think is good even in landfall. It's obviously not good on defense. None of the landfall cards really are. Its equip cost is 3, which is pretty bad. And it's just very clunky, At the end of the game, if you're top decking lands, sure, it gets you some value, but usually with an equipment, those are good for reach at the end of the game to help get your stuff through, right? Now we see another 2-drop here that I'm going to take, Grotag Bugcatcher. Even though we're not a party deck, I still think is worthwhile. There's also like Jiraga Visionary, which I might play a copy of, but the card just was not very impactful in this format. 4 mana for a 3/2 draw card isn't great, but it is playable. Here we see another strong MDFC, Akoum Warrior. I'm going to take that over our second Canopy Baloth. Do want to lock up another MDFC. And then we get another pack of strong cards here. Thundering Spark Mage again, but we're not doing the party thing. We have 2 Warriors, 2 Wizards, and a Rogue that I'm not sure I'm going to play, the Rogue. And then we get the best green common, I think, which is Reclaim the Wastes. And we also have, of course, Roiling Regrowth, Vastwood Surge. This would be our 3rd way to grab extra lands. So I'm going to pick that up here. It's just a card I like any green base landfall deck to have a 1 or 2 copies of. Here we see another Canopy Baloth. We'll take that over the Xandu Nectar Pot. We have enough 2-drops, I think, at this point. And then we get a Pyroclastic Helion, number 2, but I do need some sort of card draw here. So I'm going to skip on the second one. Maybe I can wheel another one. We see a really good pack here for pick 8. We have Synchronized Spellcraft for removal. Another Grotag Bugcatcher, which is a 2-drop that's super solid. And so I'm just going through here to calculate my 2-drops. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be 2-drop number 6. And like any modern limited format, 2-drops are super important. Ardent Electromancer, I still don't think does a whole lot for us. We don't have anything we're going to be able to double spell off of it, but it could be worthwhile. But see, it's only really going to give us 2 mana if I have exactly Bugcatcher, so it's probably better just take the Bugcatcher, and then sometimes I'll have a Fisher Wizard in play to make them 3/2s. And a 3/2 Trampler for 2 is pretty good. Especially, our deck is looking to be a bit more aggressive here. Any landfall deck should be hell-bent on being aggressive. So yeah, good. The Spitfire Lagak pickup was really nice there. Happy to have a one-off. That gives some reach. And then with our 3 ways to fetch 2 lands, it can deal some damage. So we have an okay landfall deck here. It's not perfect, but we do have 2 bombs, legitimate bombs, Phylath and then Inscription of Abundance. And then we have some solid supporting pieces. Of course, Brushfire Elemental is very good. We have 2 Scythe Cats, which can get out of control. We have a Hellion to pick up a land or an MDFC. We have some tricks in there. We're lacking for sure in the removal department. We have 2 Molten Blasts and a Rabid Bite. And Inscription. Inscription is quite a good removal spell as well. But we didn't get any Royal Eruptions or Thundering Rebukes or anything, which isn't ideal. But here we are. We'll give it a shot. In these quick drafts, most other players are going to have very good decks. Just because of the way bots draft. They're not all over the place, and they're not hedging their bets. They don't really change colors, I don't think. So it's pretty easy to get in a good deck because you're not going to see bots speculate on picks, right? All right, here we draw two of our 4 half our removal. So against white-blue, this might be pretty good, but I think we have a pretty good curve here, being able to get in for 4 this turn with a Bug Catcher. Attack for 4 on turn 3 is definitely what this deck wants to be able to do. Just try to rush folks down. I think with these bot drafts, there's a lot of folks who are able to get really good versions of tribal and party decks. And those tend to be more mid-range, focused on those mid-range uncommons. Or control-y, because they're able to get some of the late game cards that are speculated on by other players usually. So going in underneath them, I think, is a decent strategy for quick draft. I think in quick draft, red-black party aggressive versions of that, or white-green party or white-green landfall aggressive versions. Any of the landfall decks I think are actually good in this quick draft format. So here we're setting up our opponent for the double block. We have a Molten Blast in hand, which gets us the blowout, and because Bug Catcher has trample, we still get an extra point of trample damage in, and they're in real trouble. We have a land in hand to trigger landfall on both our creatures, so they need to kill 2 things this turn, or they're going to end up chumping. So they were, but we do have a way to kill Seagate Banneret. We didn't really need to play that, or to do that. We would have killed them anyway. But we do have perfect mana to be able to do both. And so we do. Opponent, again, that's one of those bomb cards. The control magic in this format is very, very good. Low Mage's Domination is just very hard to cast. Triple blue. So you want to be very heavy blue, usually 10 islands, if you want to be able to play that. One of the advantages, technically Low Mage's Domination is a rogues card, where you get discounts on, it's 3 blue and X has to be the mana cost of the creature you're trying to control. But if you have like 8 or more cards in the opponent's graveyard, you get a discount on it. It becomes very cheap to control their creature. So it's more of a late game thing. And then you just take their bomb or their signpost uncommon with it. Right here we see our bomb. So we see Phylath, and we have Vastwood Surge. So we should be able to power out a turn 5 Phylath with... the trick with Phylath is never to play it on turn 6. With 6 lands, you want to play it with your 7th land in hand. So you can play Phylath, get your 6 plant tokens, play a land, and then put a 4/4, put 4 +1/+1 counters on one of your plant tokens in case they kill the Phylath. So this could potentially get us a turn 5 Phylath with that 7th land coming down after we play them. As long as we just need to draw 1 more land before we Vastwood Surge. We'll see if I get greedy here. Usually I get super greedy, and I just don't think you need to do that with Phylath. This is a good sign for us. Opponent playing turn 1 Reclaim the Waste makes me think that maybe their land's screwed. And they grab a forest, which is very concerning to me. We also get, we just drew a Pyroclastic Hylian. This is one of those reasons you want to go all in on landfall. Because now all of our cards work together. This is a synergy-based set. It's not like Adventures in the Forgotten Realms or even Crimson Vow, which are bomb-based, stats matter type sets. This set is very much synergy-based, and if you're going in on a deck, you want to go all in on that archetype. Our Electromancer, I'll probably just go ahead and snap off Molten Blast. Right now, we just want to make sure that we build board advantage because Phylath is going to take over the game, and so we don't want to get rushed down for any reason. We have stuff to do with our mana over the next turns here. See how greedy I'll get. Yeah, I figured, knowing me. I mean, there is reasoning behind this, I guess. I think this was poor play. I think I should have just cast Vastwood Surge this turn. And then waited for a land before casting Phylath. I was dreaming of this, essentially. Oh, yep, no. So the correct play, now that I have my land here, is not to play that land. Is to cast Vastwood Surge and swing. So go grab a couple of forests, swing, and then next turn, I can play my Phylath along with the 7th land there. Get them down to 11. Now they're in trouble. They're in real trouble. They don't even know it yet. Because Pyroclastic Hylian is going to get them down to 9. Right? I get a Scythecat here. Against my deck, that's pretty good. I don't have a lot of removal. But now we just start unleashing the tokens. Let's see how busted Phylath is. And I have 3 ways to play land here. So 2 forests and the Hylian to pick a land up and drop it back down. So if they don't remove Phylath this turn, the game is probably over. And I get a swing here. I'm happy to trade Nectar Pot for that Scythecat if they want to double block, which I don't think they will. Looks like they have a trick. I'm also happy to trade a Nectar Pot for a trick. Might of Murasa is totally fine. Now I can equip Pickaxe and play Hellion this turn. So the play is equip Pickaxe to a plant. The other thing, you never want to swing with Phylath. You just want to use his ability to put counters on your stuff. And then you never want to put the counters on the same plant token unless you're really desperate. So to spread out your threats, right? Yeah, so you can see how just busted this card is. All right, they kill the molten, or they kill the pickaxe, but due to the, I think they just realized that they screwed up. They were actually dead if they didn't block, so they had to block that turn because we had 2 damage from the Hylian. I think they that might have been a little bit of a shame scoop. The Skyclave Pickaxe doesn't give a creature +2/+2. It gives a creature an ability to get +2/+2 until end of turn when you play a land. So it kept the +2/+2 after they destroyed the pickaxe. Because it gives the creature the ability, the axe doesn't have the ability, or the pickaxe doesn't have the ability. Opponent was also playing red-green. Looked to be a landfall deck, but we just saw the one Scythecat. And then Phylath kind of took over the game. They had a handful of cards, a trick that they were able to use. So don't know what they had or were holding, but they I did not see a need to continue. And then they were going to lose a lot of their board that turn as well. All right, being on the play is definitely what we want. So that's good. Looks like we're playing against another red-green deck. See if they block here. If they do, I'm going to use the trick. No problem with that, or else I'll just play my Scythe Cat. So the thing with Scythe Cat, and there's like Prowling Felidar, I think it's called, that get counters when you play land, just like Phylath. You want to play the Scythe Cat on turn 4, so you have 3 lands, you play it, then you play a land, typically, as a play pattern. Again, we can use the trick here if they block. Yep, it kind of goofs us up a bit with our mana. This is not an efficient turn, so I'm probably making a mistake in when I go to cast this Reclaim the Waste. I just wanted to be more efficient with my mana. And this way I also guarantee a land for next turn. And I can play Canopy Baloth. I want to script my turns out here, being the beatdown deck. And I want to kill my opponent before I run out of cards. I'm not necessarily looking for max efficiency. I just want to kill them. So I'm thinking or hoping that I play a Canopy Baloth, play a land, and I'm able to kill my opponent. They do have Royal Eruption, so that kind of screws us there. Draw another Bug Catcher. Fine. Keep pecking in for 2 here. And then we play a Baloth. I will happily trade that Baloth for their Scythe Cat. Opponent is up on cards. They are even on land. So this is not looking the greatest for us. We do have a couple of bombs in our deck. But if they want to trade, I'm happy to trade. I have another 4-drop waiting. And that Scythe Cat can get out of control here. Easy trade for us. I'll take a damage. We're even on the race. And then the goal is we will definitely double block because we just want to play our Phylath here. In green, red, there's not a lot that deals with Phylath. You can kick a Royal Eruption, but they're a ways away from that. I believe it's 7 mana. They have 5. That land lets us get them to 3. So now it's looking really good for us because we have Pyroclastic Helion and ways to bring in damage. So the reason I'm playing it for 6 mana here, we're at 9 life. They can really hurt us. And the plant tokens, even though they're 0-1s, do a really good job against Canopy Baloth. Right? They can chump that thing indefinitely. So they're not so great against Territorial Scythe Cat, but really good against Canopy Baloth. And that prevents them from getting through, right? We were very vulnerable to a spell like Cinderclasm there, though. But it would have killed their Scythe Cat if they played it. And Cinderclasm is a Pyroclasm effect. Deals 2 to all creatures. They could have played a land and played the unkicked version to deal 1 to all creatures. Would have wrecked us. But it wouldn't have killed our Bug Catcher. And then they might have been dead on the crackback. One of the issues, I think, with Quick Draft is not a lot of people play it. So sometimes you can wait a little bit for a match. And I think the Zendikar Quick Draft might go away in a few days here. All right, so decent hand here, 3/2 drops. The play pattern with these for Bug Catcher, you want to play the Bug Catcher first, Fisher Wizard second, so you get your bonus there for party. Now, I'm going to be greedy this time. I learned from my mistake of firing off a Reclaim the Waste, although it may be looking in retrospect, it was the correct thing to do is to fire off that Reclaim the Waste when I did. I don't know. Our second Fisher Wizard. Here, if we draw a land, maybe we discard a land to it to draw another card. We could discard the Inordinate Rage as well. Or even a Molten Blast. or nothing. You don't. It's a May ability on the Fisher Wizard. Or I could discard the other Fisher Wizard, which might be the right move here. I just go with the Rage. Makes sense. I guess it's defensible. Having that trick available against a Fireblade Charger is really good. Because when they redirect the point of damage, I can buff my creature and make it survive. But I'm happy here to block with Fisher Wizard if they do swing with the Charger. Actually don't like my line here. Against red-black, I really need to be beating down, and having that trick I think is would be really helpful. Red-black has instant speed removal access with Deadly Alliance, Vanquish the Weak, are both instant speed. And the trick also helps it fizzles Vanquish the Weak if you cast it in response. So I think that would have been a good idea. The Legat kind of blanks my board here as well, and then the trick would have been useful. The Fisher Wizard is not looking useful. Luckily, we're able to draw our bomb, so we can go ahead, get our lands, and I don't like my line. I think I should have discarded that Fisher Wizard pretty easily. Should have been able to make that decision. This Dreadworm is actually a problem for me. If they have lands, they can just start clubbing me for 5. Phylath does good against that. Those plant tokens mean that they just can't get in there because I'll have 6 of them. I could just chump with plant tokens if they make it indestructible. And they swing. One of the things with Phylath tokens is a lot of people try to save those plants to get 4/5 +4/+4 counters. And they're a resource. You got to be able to use them. Here, I have a really good double block, and I'm not sure what there is for 1 red in the format. So I'm just going to do that. We'll trade my Legat for the 5/4, which was going to cause me issues. And now we draw our bomb. So this was my big misplay. Yeah. Okay, so I really screwed this up. The thing I was supposed to do is just play my creatures here, Bug Catcher and Wizard. And then wait for the 7th land. I think about this for a while, too. There's really no good way to do this. Like, swinging with Bug Catcher into Legat, I could see if they block. But I would trade my Inscription plus Bug Catcher for their 2 creatures, which isn't a good trade here. I need to get more value from that Inscription. It might have just been correct to let the Bug Catcher die and then play the other 2 creatures. And I even missed out on... Yeah, it was just not good. Not good. I should have just traded the 2. It was fine to trade those 2. That was not a good use of my turn. I didn't get my 6th land. So I think the plan is to play... Well, what I should have done is played Brushfire Elemental pre-combat and swung and been able... So I'm just misplaying all over the place here. Just totally misplaying all of this. Because I could have gotten extra damage in. And now they have another Dreadworm. which would have been so much better to have my removal spell, Inscription of Abundance, to deal with that thing. I'm deciding how greedy I want to be. But I think with a Pyroclastic Helion in the deck, I really do need to use that as a land. Get my 4/5 either way. I can buff up here, and the Dreadworm holds me off. They play a land and they try to swing with it. I just don't care about the 5 damage. So they're at 12. I think they have to sit there, or else they'll just be dead on the crackback. Opponent's tanking. This is not a good situation. They are way up on cards. We have the same amount of land in play, so they should have something going on. So now, luckily, we draw a land there. That's huge, and I can swing in with 2 plants. If they want to trade a plant for an actual card, I mean, that's just the power of Phylath, right? I'm debating if I should just swing all. It might have been correct there to swing all. They block the Phylath to trade. I deal 8, 11, and they're dead potentially. They just have way too much mana open, so I don't know what's going on here. I know they have cards in their hand, right? We go to 4. Now this is a much better position for me. So they would have traded, taken 8, 11, 13. They still would have died there. But unless they had another thing, which they might have. I don't know. If they were tapped out, obviously I would have gone for it, but... Steel and Sack. There is an MDFC Steel and Sack combo in this format. But this taps them out if they're going to do it. And of course they're going to have it, right? This we know. So they're able to beat me over the head with my own Phylath. And then fling it at a plant. And then they just die if I draw land. They draw land, they die. And they have to trade their Dreadworm for a plant as well. So we're just swinging out here, and if we draw a land, they die. And we draw the land. So it pays to be a landlord. There you go. Possible I should have swung earlier. In that one turn. Because they would have had to had 2 things there. I just feel like they did. You know, and if they do, we're in deep shit. Alright, we have a 2-drop and a bomb. So hopefully we can use this inscription better than we did last time. It's also instant speed. That card is just ridiculous. And then we draw one of the best 2-drops we could have hoped to see. I'm going to try to get value off of it. And it doesn't really change the damage calculation. And if they want to trade their rare for my uncommon, they're more than welcome. I want to be the beatdown here, and they can pay 1 to make it a 4/2. So I'm going to swing with both while they're tapped out. Although that could be a mistake, because I kind of like, if they want to spend a mana on turn 3 to make that a 4/2, I don't really care. And get past my Kazandu Nectar Pot. I'm only pushing 1 extra damage here. So it might be a mistake there to swing with the Nectar Pot in order to deny them a mana if they want to get in. But they would have been able to anyway. Of course, yeah. So they're able to do that anyway. So it did work out, although it might have been a mistake. Here, we have a Rabid Bite in our hands, so we're able to take out that rare. if we want. We could also play Canopy Bailoff, but I think it's better to do Rabid Bite and Bug Catcher here. We happen to draw one of our two Fisher Wizards. We can get in with Bug Catcher past the Ambusher next turn. So we have Bailoff and a bomb in our hands, and just need some lands and to continue the pressure here. Looks like they have something. They swing, obviously, I take it. Because they can pump, even though them spending 3 mana in this position to pump doesn't seem great. Royal Eruption. Okay, they've got it. And we have a Roiling Regrowth, so I want to be able to use that here. On a Canopy Bailoff attack. Because that... Okay, so if I draw land, it becomes a 6/5. And then if I use Roiling Regrowth, I sack a land, bring 2 more into play. It becomes a 10/9. So I'm just trying to push damage because I know the Bailoff can end the game here. Makindi Ox. Didn't draw the land, but I am going to try to eat this Ox here because that can present a problem for me. And this will also get me to 5 lands, so I grab a mountain and a forest here, and then I can play Fisher Wizard as well. Oh, no, they come into play tap. What am I thinking? Next turn, I can play Fisher Wizard and swing with the Bug Catcher, though. I think I screwed this up, too. Yeah. So the correct play the land, play the wizard, and then I have attacks with Bug Catcher and Canopy Bailoff, and I didn't do that. So I really screwed up the sequencing here. Man, I am just misplaying. It's been a while since I played this format. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. I could have traded a Myriad Captain for the Bug Catcher there. Just really, really dumb. And I think I goof up even more here with a play. Next turn. All right. So inordinate rate. Yeah, I really screwed this up. Might have been able to kill them. But they would probably have something here. Because they can double pump. And then they... Yeah. Force me to use my inscription to give my Bailoff more counters. So what I should have done is pump the Bug Catcher. And now I can't even get the value. Wow, I really screwed this up. Man, I am just... I blame being unfamiliar with the format, but in reality, it's just me not playing well. Still think we're in a good position. We're drawing a removal spell next turn. And then they head explode. Man, that was poor play. That was really poor play. All right, we did survive despite our best efforts to punt. Let's get it together. Remember how to play the format. And do a better job. All right. No 2-drops. So this is tough. But I think it is a keep here. We have we're on the play. We have Reclaim the Waste to help us hit our land. We have a Molten Blast to take out a Signpost Uncommon that they might play. If they play black here, we're probably in trouble. The Cleric Sec is very strong, and of course they do. And of course they have Cleric of Life Spawn, which is the Signpost Uncommon. Thank God we had this Molten Blast. That card would beat us. Just going to use that before they could have a trick or anything. It's just gotta get out of here. All right, so we've found our first 2-drop exactly when we thought we would. When we were on 4 mana and we play our 4-drop. So we have Rabid Bite to deal with something. We have a Reclaim the Waste to get us lands. I'm not blocking this. They're trying to bait me here. Sweat Pea is. They'll even do a little oops, I think, to try to bait me into blocking. I know they have something, whether it's +2/+2 or whatever. They've got something. That thing also has Vigilance. And we didn't draw any way to deal with it. So what I'm going to do, I think, is play Grotag Bug Catcher, or, yeah, maybe just hit my 5th land. Double Bug Catcher. And we can take 2. I don't want to lose that Lagak. Although in hindsight, maybe it's stupid of me. To try to hang on to that thing. Yeah. Pressure point, who cares? Attended Healer, another Signpost in common. But now they're tapped out. So I can double block here, get a good double block with the Bug Catchers. That's totally fine. They gain some life and get a 1/1. Don't really care. I Rabid Bite their Attended Healer, and now I have a crackback with my creatures. So another Signpost uncommon from the opponent, but we do get in for 5. Should probably be playing that Akum Warrior. But this game is looking very difficult. Opponent's way up on cards. They're up on land. They have more Signpost uncommons. So we need to top a forest here, and we don't. Right now, the good news is they don't have a way to... what am I saying? They don't have a way to lifelink a cleric, because they only have the one cleric in play. So I think the play here is Scythe Cat and then Akum Warrior, but I don't do that. I'm just going to go grab Forest so I can Inscription of Abundance. I think it is correct to play the Forest here in case I draw like Phylath or something. I want to try to get to as much lands as I can. I want to get to 6 lands and have the 7th in hand. Scythe Cat's going to be fine against a cleric stack. I think it's going to be bigger than their shit. We are winning the race, so I don't care if they hit me for 3 here. Or hit me for 2. Yeah. So they got something, but Inscription of Abundance is instant speed. So even if they have a trick... Yeah. And I'm happy to trade my Bug Catcher for their trick here. Don't care. Don't care at all. They want to use a trick, they can use a trick. Doesn't matter to me. It was Subtle Strike is what they had, which would have wrecked me. Completely wrecked me. It would have made my Lagak a 2/3 and their creature a 3/3 and just totally screwed me. So, I think the correct play here again is to Inscript, because now they have a way to lifelink. And then I make a big-ass Spitfire Lagak. It may be that I was supposed to attack and maybe they chump, but I don't know. Get a 2-for-1. But this works out. I'm happy to deal them 5. And go to 8. And now things are looking very good. They're down to 2 cards. We have 3 relevant spells here. They smite the monsters. That's fine. We'll take 3. We have Brushfire Elemental here with a land plus Scythe Cat. So we can do it all. So Brushfire, Scythe Cat, Forest. And then we get them down to 5. Which is great. It's a great turn. Next turn, we can play Akoum Warrior. And keep on motoring. We also have Molten Blast to kill an Expedition Healer. Subtle Strike would have been really good for the opponent right about now. Gloom Hunter can be a problem. That can be a huge problem. 3/3 Flying Lifelink. I don't have any ways left in the deck to deal with that. I'm out of Rabid Bites. I'm out of my Inscription of Abundance. So I have nothing, no way to deal with that. So I have to try to race it. Good news is we have a 4/3 and a 3/3 that they can't block. They can trade the Gloom Hunter for the 3/3, which I'm hoping they do. And I have Molten Blast. My trick, if they try to double block the Scythe Cat, I can Molten Blast the Expedition Healer and trample over for lethal. But they block everything. I get to keep my Scythe Cat. But, yeah. But we don't get lethal there. Oh, no, I guess I wouldn't have... Oh, no, yeah. I would have trampled over for lethal because I wouldn't have gotten the lifelink from it. Yeah. More removal. They're down to 2, though. Good thing we kept that Akoum Warrior, I guess, huh? Another Signpost Uncommon. And now we start holding lands in case we draw a landfall card. 4/5 Trampler. If they have more removal, it's GG, but it is what it is. Sweat Pea. Trying to use emotes to trick me. Uncool. Another Gloom Hunter. They got a chump with it. That's fine. We're getting flooded. Opponent stops at 6. We draw into 9 lands. 10 if you include... Oh, they didn't even block. Okay. Well, they could have done that too, I guess. They should have chumped and then taken 1 damage and gained 3, so they would have been fine. Lived to see another turn, but they chose death over dishonor. They really like that bats. All right, that makes us 6-0. This deck is just plowing through. Like I said, I think aggro decks work a little bit better in quick draft because you're able to get very synergized, signposty mid-range decks from the bots. And so if you can speed past those, you should be good. Also, I think the bots take removal very highly. So removal tends to be at more of a premium. And without cheap removal, aggro decks tend to shine as well. So here we get another very good opening hand. Turn 2, Brushfire Elemental. Turn 3, Scythe Cat. And then if we draw a land, we get a Baloth. And then we draw our... This is the first time we've seen it, I think, isn't it? Maybe we've seen it once. So I think the play... We play Scythe Cat on 3, and then we just play the... if we don't draw land, we play the Florahedron on 4 and put counters on shit. Then we can play Baloth turn 5. And then we also have the Hellion to pick up the Florahedron if for whatever reason we wanted a 1/1 mana dork. There's also... I could have played Florahedron that turn instead of Brushfire Elemental, but I think we want it as a land here because we have 3 landfall cards in our hand. All right. Now we draw a Vastwood Surge. That's going to make a potentially disgusting start for us happen. I could swing with both, and then I get trample damage from Inordinate Rage, which seems really good to me. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Scry. keep Molten Blast. The reason I'm keeping Molten Blast here is because I have Vastwood Surge to get me to land 6. Or else I would want the land. If I didn't have Vastwood Surge, I think I scry for a land there. Or I put that on bottom. Vastwood Surge is probably going to seal it. It's going to make them have to chump this turn. So now they have to chump the Scythe Cat, which already has Trample. Oof. This is brutal. This is filthy. This is nasty. Thanks. So they got a chump, and they go to 5. Now we have a Hellion to pick up a land. We have Molten Blast for removal, and a Baloth as well. So we'll see if our opponent wants to stick around, but it's not looking good for them. Another champ isn't going to do it. They are, with a land, they're dead on board if that's all they have. So they'll need removal. They have Rabid Bite. Okay. That's going to keep them still dead, I believe, because they go to 3 with me playing a land. Or, sorry, they go to 3 if I play Pyroclastic Hylian, and then I trample through for 3 more when I play a land. So they're dead. Yep. Preferred Xaxes. And that's it. That was a brutal, filthy game. That was very destructive. But that is Zendikar Rising Quick Draft. Believe it or not, red, green, the landfall decks are like the worst decks in the format. I think Clerics, Wizards, the Kicker deck, and then Rogues are probably mid-tier along with Warrior. And then the landfall decks are on the bottom with